Hi, I'm Chris with McMillions Microgreens, and I'm happy to bring you along today and show you kind of the process of, making a tray of microgreens and getting it into the tent, showing you what I've got in the tent already, what's going to the market, what I'm pulling out of germination. The reason that I got into this business was I just really needed to find something to do that was going to be beneficial, not only to me, but to the clientele, the customers. I didn't want to do anything that wasn't going to be beneficial, and microgreens are the most beneficial thing that I've had in terms of nutrition added to my diet and my life. So one thing kind of led to another on that, and I quit my full-time job and just jumped on and started the business, and we're about a year in now. And so this stuff is literally a superfood as backed by science. You've got the University of Maryland telling you that broccoli has, just in a loose cupful, 40 to 50 times more nutritional value than its adult counterpart. Now, if you're not getting greens into your diet, why not get a little bit of that and put it into whatever you're eating? You might not even taste it, but I assure you, you're getting that nutritional benefit. And Dr. Talele furthermore studied broccoli microgreens and found that they have sulforaphane, which is an anti-cancer, anti-aging properties, gets rid of free radicals at the cellular level. Purple radish does the same thing, but it's got a ton of antioxidants. So these things are just packed full of flavor, full of nutrients, and I was like, heck, why not? Let's see if we can educate everybody and see how many people we can pull on board to keep this in their diet regularly. And I'm happy to say that we're filling up, and people are filling up on them, and it's being very beneficial to their health. They're coming back and telling me that, and that couldn't be more gratifying. I'm so happy to provide that to this community. And if you're out there and you haven't tried McMillions microgreens, I hope that you come check me out and give them a try. Add them to your diet. So we've got a 10 by 10 grow tent, and the reason that I did this was so that we had a really controlled environment. So I can have a humidifier kick on whenever it needs to kick on. I can have a dehumidifier kick on when it needs to kick on. I have the lights automated. The only thing I don't have automated is the watering. For the watering, we just take about 8 ounces of water, lift up, and pour in the bottom. And the reason that we bottom feed is because if I were to take this cup of water and pour it all over the top, you can imagine it's all just going to lay down. The only thing that gets any water sprayed on the top is going to be the sunflowers down here. And the reason that we do that is that we try to get all these hulls off. So you can just give them a nice little back and forth action there, and then you can see the mess occur on the floor of all the sunflower hulls that we'll get in here and sweep up later. But it's impossible to get them all off. We try to get as many as we can. But all of these here are 10 days old. They're going to the market tomorrow. So, actually that's a lie. All of these are going to the market tomorrow. These are for customers up here. I've already done some deliveries this week, so I'm in Stardust, Flavor Mutt, Gustard's Bistro, and the Schoolhouse Hotel. And all of them have been great. They source locally, so it's not just the microgreens that they're picking up here. Everything from beef to vegetables. It's pretty impressive what Lewisburg and White Sulphur and the surrounding areas have done for the community in keeping all of that alive. So I'm happy to be a part of that. They treat me well, and these treat the people well. On this side over here, if you want to take a look, we can move this back so it's a little tight in here. So we can turn these lights on. And under here, we've got some trays that are ready to come out of germination. And by this time next week, they will look exactly like what you just saw on the other side. So these are 15-pound paver stones, and you can see how much these microgreens wanted to push up. I mean, there's so much might with that density in there that, you know, if you stack these too high, even with that 15-pound weight, it'll tilt over and you'll have a big mess in here, a lot of loss. So, learn from others' mistakes and don't make that one. These guys won't get pulled until tomorrow. That's our sunflowers and peas. We might take a look at them. So, I like to get these guys out, get them some water right away because they've been sitting here for 3 days, germinating, and they are certainly thirsty. So the reason that I got into microgreens, before this, you know, I had a full-time job that I was really good at. It was a technology job. And some of that, you know, kind of resonates over into this aspect because, I mean, look what I've built here. We've got a grow tent that is partially automated, and what I used to do was automate smart homes. So you could imagine that a lot of that translated over to what I'm trying to accomplish here. And then again, the reason for doing it this way is so I've got a controlled environment. I don't have to worry about the elements outdoors. The biggest concern is the power going out, but I've got a backup generator just in case that happens. And we've only had to deal with that once. And whenever these come out fresh, we can give them a little bit of moisture on top. There's nothing wrong with that. There's enough wind flow in here just to give them a little bit of love. And then, just like the other side, we get to watering. So you'll see under here, pretty dry, and the roots are just now starting to poke through. So, back to why I got into this. Because you'd think if I was happy with my job, why the heck would I leave it and go venture out on my own? That seems scary. Which it was. But everything changed for me after I started growing my family. And I knew that I needed to figure something out to where I would be in my family's life as much as possible as my kids are growing, because as you hear from everybody, time flies, and we all know that. So, to not have to regret it later, I searched and searched what could I do, and the answer was staring me in the face the whole time, because I had already studied microgreens, and I had already tried them for myself, and I already knew how good they were. So I had to have neck surgery up at Johns Hopkins University. It's not a university, that's Maryland University. Johns Hopkins is just a hospital. So I had to have neck surgery up at Johns Hopkins to tie my spine together after I'd broken it. And while I was up there, I heard of Dr. Talele. And Dr. Talele had studied broccoli microgreens specifically, and what he found in them was that they have sulforaphane, and they said that sulforaphane was one of the greatest discoveries of the 20th century because it's an anti-cancer, it gets rid of free radicals at the cellular level, and it was all just in a small dose. So they went on to study it more. They found that the nutritional level, this was the University of Maryland, found that the nutritional level in this stuff was 40 times greater than the adult counterpart. And then you go on to look at the rest of them. You know, we've got purple radish, kale, red acre cabbage, the broccoli. We've got some mixes with a little bit of everything in it. We've got our peas and sunflowers, and all of these have their own flavor profile. They taste an awful lot like the adult counterpart, but you know, they've just got this nutritional aspect to them. Everything from antioxidants to vitamins and minerals. And the great thing about it is what you just saw is we're using a soil that doesn't have any additives. The seeds have everything they want to get to this stage. You don't need to add anything. You don't have to do any sort of nutrients, the fertilizers, none of that. It's as natural can get. And you know, keeping it that way, I kind of knew, like, hey, let's start this. Let's start McMillions Microgreens. And we went full steam ahead on it, and I think we're a little over a year into the business now, and I couldn't be happier that I did this, and I couldn't be happier with the customers and the clientele that I have, the feedback that I'm getting from people that it's actually helping, you know. And I knew that it would because it helped me, but it's always scary jumping ship from something that's comfortable and starting your own thing. But you know, there's so many aspects to it that is really gratifying, and I'm just super happy to be on this venture, and I appreciate you checking it out. I don't know, there's something to it. I love it. You can see the soil here. It's this Canadian peat moss with a perlite, and it's it doesn't hold the water, you know. It's not going to make a swamp in here. Since we're not feeding on the top, and we really just need something for the seeds to set in and germinate properly in, and just give them a medium to, you know, do their thing in. So we try to even it out here. And one thing to make sure of is packing into the corners good. When I first started, I didn't do that, and your corners will dry out on you, and you don't want that. Then you'll come in and everything will just be kind of falling over. But not all is lost at that point either. You know, you give them some water and they'll perk right back up. So let's get some of this back out of here. And then we'll come up here and take another tray without any holes in it, and we'll get those corners pressed in really good, and then we'll put some weight on it here and press it down good and flat. And then you got yourself a nice little bed to lay these seeds in. So you take about 15 to 20 grams of your broccoli seeds here, and I like to go around and get all the corners and edges first. And then come back and just kind of give them an even layer all across here. And then, so if you just get around the edges, kind of like so. And we take a tray here and put it on with our 15-pound weight, and then 3 days from now it's going to look like what you saw in there. So I've got a leftover tray of these are already harvested purple radish microgreens, and you can see here how the roots have taken shape. So whenever we plant, we're packing this dirt down really tight and then putting the seeds on top and giving it about 8 ounces of water, and then we're putting weight on top of it with another tray just like this, and it's gonna germinate over 3 days like you've seen. And then after we're done and we've harvested it, we come out, and this one is very full, but we just dump it in there like that, and then let's give it a little chop. And then we can use this in the garden, around the tomato plants. You know, it's a good way to reuse, because it's just a Canadian peat moss and perlite mixed together. But after you get, you know, all those roots and the microgreens in there, you're getting a good compost. So we like to have that. Microgreens are right after the sprouting stage, whenever they get their first true leaves. And the reason that I got into them was because of the broccoli specifically here. The University of Maryland had done a study showing that it has 40 to 50 times more nutritional value than the adult counterpart.
Really?
And it's got sulforaphane in it, which Dr. Talele had found in his studies at Johns Hopkins. So they're a superfood as backed by science. And what Johns Hopkins found in their studies was sulforaphane, which is an anti-cancer, anti-aging, gets rid of free radicals at the cellular level.
It's big-time antioxidant.
Yeah, and they've all got their antioxidant properties, but the purple ones, I forget the name of it, but they've got more. You know, since it's there's a certain term for it. That's it. What was it again?
Anthocyanin.
Anthocyanin. Anthocyanin. I'll have to try and remember it. So many terms. So if you're able to make it out to the market, that's awesome. We've got a lot of great vendors here, and you can get a fresh harvest of our microgreens. If you can't make it out, you can get online and visit us. And the day that you make your order, I plant that day. So 10 days later, you get a fresh harvest. I haven't incurred any waste, and we can get you on a schedule however you see fit. So come out to the market if you can. If you can't, reach out, get online. We've got a Facebook, Instagram, we've got our website. It's got my number. You can call, text, however you feel. Email, all of that. So yeah, please get with us and let us know. Thanks.